Okay, so here's a recitation 0 for Python fundamentals. So first, let's talk about setting up our environment. We need to install and import libraries because they provide essential tools and functions for our projects. For example, here you can import Torch and import NumPy as an MP, but you should notice that if some libraries are not installed, we need to use pip install or pip3 install to install them, and then it can allow us to import and use them in our code. And then for the file handling, for example, here, especially with CSV files, we commonly use the pandas library. You can load CSV files into your Python environment using pandas.readCSV. This function helps us easily read and manipulate data from CSV files. Let's go to the third part about data types and slicing. So let's start with numerical data type. In Python, we have integers and floats. Integers represent whole numbers, while float represents decimal numbers. One important thing we need to notice is that numerical data types cannot be sliced like this. And then about string data type. Strings are sequences of characters that can be sliced. You can extract a single character like this, like the first letter of the string, or we can get a substring using the slicing, such as the second letter to the fourth letter of the string like this. And then about the Boolean type only have two possible values, which is true or false. So obviously they cannot be sliced. And for the lists are another important data types, and lists can be sliced, and you can also modify the element like this. So for example, initially the mixed list, the first element of the mixed list is 12, and you can modify it to be false, and then it can output the updated mixed list here. So, and then about tuples. Tuples are similar to lists, and they can be sliced, but unlike lists, tuples are immutable. This means that once a tuple is created, its element cannot be changed. So you can see that you cannot change the element of the tuple. Then about sets. Sets are an ordered collection of unique elements. So unordered means that the elements have no specific order, and unique means that there are no duplicate elements in the list. For example, you can see here that like initially it is 2, 1, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, but when you print it, it becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then about dictionary. Dictionaries differ from the data type we covered so far. Instead of using indices, dictionaries use keys to access values. For example, the name, age, city here are the keys, and John 30 Pittsburgh are the values. You cannot access the element using like the zero index, but rather than that, you use like keys and values like that to get the element you want. And then about non-type. Non-type represents the absence of the value. It is similar to null in other programming languages. And then let's talk about logical statements and loops. So first one is if and else statements. If and else statements allows conditional execution of the code. So the condition here is if the number is larger than 0, and it can print out positive if the condition is like false like this. And the second one I want to talk about is and, or, and not operators. So those are used for combining conditions. For example, here, and represents both conditions are true, and or represents at least one condition is true, and not just not, right? It's just, yeah. And third one for the for loop, it iterates over a sequence and performs actions for each element. For example, here it loops over the fruits and then print out every element in this fruits, which is it prints out apple, banana, and cherry like that. And the while loop repeatedly executes a block of code as long as its condition remains true. So here the condition is count less than 5. So if the condition is true, it can print out the number. So here it prints out all the numbers that is like less than 5. Thank you so much about it.